the cheater. Welcome to Ghost Hunting with Delta.
And tonight, we are exploring the night house.
Let's do it.
Let's get into it.
So the house was built in 1815, and we're not sure who originally built the house because there's not a deed generated. Back then, they didn't generate deeds until they sold the house, and the house is sold for the first time that we know of right now is 1844. That was a guy named J.P. Campbell. There are signs that point toward him building the house, but I haven't found the smoking gun yet, so I've still done research on that. So I'm going to mainly focus on the Knights because that's why we call it Night House. They were here for 85 years, so they were here for the dominant history of the 210 years, and they kind of had, from what we figured out, the most influence on the house and the way the house looks now versus anybody else. So J.P. Campbell sells the house in 1844 to Edwin and Paulina Ware. They owned it for a few years. They sell it to a family called the Waddills, R.O. Waddill and his family. They lived here for 10 years, from 1848 to 1858. And they moved to Texas. And so in 1860, and I don't know why they waited 2 years to sell the house, but in 1860 they sold it to J.B. Knight and Eliza Knight. J.B. and Eliza already had 7 kids. They were all young. I think the oldest was maybe 5 when they moved in here. And so they raised their kids, and that's probably why they moved in this house. On the 1850 census, they lived 2 houses that way when the Waddills lived in this house. So, and that's all it says. They don't say addresses or anything on those old census. It just says house number 510, and this is house number 512 that they came to for the census or whatever. So they probably moved to this house because they had a bigger family. The crazy thing is, all those people that I just named that own the house, they're all friends. They all did business together. They also all were attorneys. So we've had nothing but attorneys up until the last owners we bought it from and us. It's always been attorneys that own this house. Including the Rogers, who owned it from 1948 until 2014. So the dad was a lawyer, so was one of the sons. They were here for 60 years. But so the Knights pretty much raised all 7 of the kids here. They never had any stillborn kids. All their kids lived to adulthood, which was unusual back then. But JB was an attorney, but he made his money on real estate. He didn't practice a whole lot of law. He was a big real estate magnate. And he got most of his wealth from his father. When his father died in 1843, he owned thousands of acres and had lots of money. Well, JB was the middle kid of 14, but he's also a lawyer. And so since he became the executor of his dad's will, back then the executor got the majority of the wealth. But he did distribute it out to his brothers and his sisters and things. And they all were pretty well off anyway, because most of them, if they didn't, all of his sisters married into money because they were a prominent family. So, and the brothers married into prominent families too. So, and then they had their own money. But they're all pretty successful. But JB was the most successful. We figured in the 1850s, 1860s, he's worth about $40 million in today's money, with all the property, thousands of acres that he owned across the United States, and all the property bought and sold. He was buying and selling not just houses. When I say real estate, I'm talking hotels, things like that. In 1871, he owned an apartment building, a 3-story apartment building, a really high-rise, like ritzy apartment building in Chicago that burned down in the Great Chicago Fire in 1871. So, and he sent his second oldest son, who became a lawyer, John Jr., up there to oversee the rebuilding of it because it was a pretty good income generator. And he never came back to Hopkinsville. He lived there in Chicago the rest of his life until he died in 1929. And he was a lawyer, but he became a real estate magnate in Chicago. And he was buying and selling big properties up there. But they had 7 kids. Robert was the oldest, and he was the only one out of the sons that did not become a lawyer. They had 4 sons, 3 daughters. Robert became a merchant, and he was a cobbler. So he made thick shoes, and then he owned his own store. So he did pretty well for himself anyway. And then John Jr., who I mentioned, became an attorney. He's the second oldest. And like I said, he went to Chicago and only came back to visit. The next oldest kid was Carrie. That was their first daughter. Carrie lived, she had 3 kids. One of them died at birth, one of them died as a toddler, and her third kid, Leon, actually lived until 1942. So he lived to older age. She got married to her brother's best friend. They went to, Charlie was her younger brother. He went to college in West Virginia, and when he moved back, his best friend moved in the house with him, and him and Carrie fell in love and got married. His name was James Harding. Well, Carrie died at the age of 25 of tuberculosis here in the house. And James Harding, her husband, took their son Leon and moved to Nashville. And when he moved to Nashville, he helped found David Lipscomb College and did a bunch of stuff in Nashville. And so did his other kids. He got remarried, had more kids. The next kid was Kate, their next daughter. Kate never got married, never had kids. She died at 22, a year after her sister's tuberculosis. So she died a year after Carrie tuberculosis in the house. All of them that died here had their wakes here in the dining room. So there was no funeral homes, nothing like that. We'll talk about that more in a minute because that's called a death cooler. So, which is rare around here. You gotta go more up north or south to see them. So Kate died at a very young age, never had kids, nothing. And then Charlie was the next kid. He never got married, never had kids. He became a lawyer, and he worked in his father's law practice. But in 1883, he actually became president of the board for Western State Lunatic Asylum, which is Western State Hospital, which is about a mile from here, out that way. If you've never seen it, you should drop by there and go out of town.
It's cool.
It's impressive. It's been in operation since 1848. At one time, it was 800 acres and 80 buildings because it was a poor farm as well. That place is haunted.
It's,
you want to talk about
I've heard crazy stuff about that place.
I've talked to some nurses who worked there for a long time. Actually, the lady who runs the Trail of Tears Park, Christina, she used to be a nurse there for like 30 years.
Really?
She's got some stories. But so he became the president of the board, and then he was the president, and he was on the commission that ran the hospital until 1921. And there was a big scandal because the incoming governor did not like him. They had beef, and so they basically kicked him out for this huge scandal. And then he died in the house in 1924. The next kid was Ida. She never got married, never had kids. She lived here her entire life. She was probably maybe 1 year old when they moved in here. She lived in this house her entire life until she died in 1938. And she was born in the 1850s. So wow. She had a pretty long life. And then the youngest son was Thomas. And Thomas took his name, they gave him his name from his mom's brother, who was Thomas Bryan, who was a sheriff in town for 30 years. And I tell you that because whenever his uncle died, he took over his uncle's house at 17th and Main. And the house stood until 2014 when it burned down. I think it's toward the rest of it now. I always like telling this story because it shows how much money they had. Because even Thomas became a lawyer, but he sold insurance. And he made a lot of money as the only insurance guy in town, right? House insurance, life insurance, all this stuff. So when he moved to his uncle's house, he didn't like the fact that it faced Main Street, so he paid somebody to pick it up and turn it to face 17th Avenue. 17th Street, and it stayed that way until it burned down in 2014. So they had some money. They're all independently wealthy. Yeah.
Turn my house 90 degrees.
So JB, when they moved in here in the 1860s, you kind of had, the house was originally, the original structure was just a brick that you see. The front porch wasn't there, this was not here, there was no door here, nothing. The basement windows didn't even exist. The basement had no windows, it was dark down there. You had people during the day, you had a fire and all that stuff. But, so when JB moved in, he had the porch built, and this is actually a copy. I had this original contract. Actually, this is just a copy of it.
Oh, wow.
But that's actually from the contractor that he wrote up for JB Knight to build the front porch.
Oh, wow.
$110 for materials and all.
Man,
This is
like that today.
yeah. This is a copy of the deed, and y'all can handle these and look at them. That's a copy of the deed when JB Knight bought the.
And the wording on where
It's
the
very
property
weird.
lines are very similar to this day.
Yeah, the deed that we have.
Heretofore.
16 rods this way to this red maple tree on so and so's property, and yeah, it's weird.
One of the things says started the Rogers Post, and I'm like, that is great information.
We have about almost 200 individual pieces of letters, original envelopes, even have a JB Knight business card. And I think it's comical because all it says is JB Knight Attorney at Law.
Yeah.
They didn't have phone numbers and they didn't do addresses. So you just had to ask around where JB Knight's law office was. And he actually had one down here by the road, and he had one in town too, across from the fire hall.
Okay.
And that in the newspaper, that was the directions to his law office was across from the fire station. That's how people
Okay.
found it. But yeah, the original house was just a red brick structure. Since it's been a residence for over 200 years, until we bought it, it's been changed to fit all the different families. It's been changed a lot. There's lots of different things in the house. So we don't have any idea what it originally looked like. We do know that it was in Federalist style. So the front porch would have not been anything grand. It would have been very much maybe a little decoration above the door, a little bitty porch, and we think there were stairs going down both sides. That's as grand as it got. The J.B. Knight's just a house over in the 1860s to Greek revival. That's where you get the columns from, the rear porch. He built this porch, which with the giant columns, which we're working on sanding and repainting. But he built this side porch, put those doors in. So there's a legend about the front steps. The steps that are there now were put on by the Rogers family in the 70s, by Frances Rogers' mom. She saw the granite blocks laying downtown on Empty Lot where they torn down an old church and bought them and had somebody pour concrete and put the steps in. Before that, from what I heard and it's told around town about a town historian, the house did not have stairs for probably, front stairs for probably 50, 60 years. The legend goes that one of the daughters of J.B. Knight came back from riding horses with her mom. And back then, the driveway would have come up from the horseshoe ground and back out to the road. And the road was flat. They raised it up and they had to put the overpass in for Pennyrock Parkway like 50s, 60s. But the road would have been, the yard would have been on flat. So they came up on horseback, and of course the slaves would have come and got the horses. Her and her mom were going up the front stairs. The daughter fell, broke her leg, almost died, and it disfigured her for the rest of her life. Now, the only reason I believe that story is true is because Ida, the daughter who I said never got married, never had kids, well, if she was damaged goods, as they would have said back then, nobody would marry her, right? If she walked with a cane or a limp or had a weird leg or something, yeah, even coming from a prominent rich family, nobody would have married her. So, which is horrible, it's stupid.
Yeah.
So that, to me, lends a little credence to the story. So the rest of the story goes that JB got mad and the brothers got mad because she almost died. They ripped the front stairs off, never put any back on. That's when he built this entrance. And this became the main entrance to the house. That just came for show. Which is weird because the parlor's up there. And that's where they would entertain. But this, we believe, used to be the dining room. And they turned it into a foyer whenever they put these doors here, and he built the dining room. The extra dining room. Also to give them more room for bedrooms and things too, because he built a bedroom on as well. The death door, and then we'll go in the house. When he built the dining room, apparently the family was into spiritualism at some point in time. Don't know when this door was put in, don't know when it was put in. It was put in when he built the dining room, or if it was maybe later put in. So the whole thing with the death door is two different beliefs. Because the parlor's upstairs, they wouldn't have carried a coffin up and down the stairs, especially not those. And if it didn't have front steps, they're definitely not coming down these stairs. If you saw them at the parlor, there's no way to get a casket up there. More than likely, they just clear off the dining room table, caskets on the dining room table. And so that's where the wake was. Well, this door, there's two different beliefs in the spiritualist movement. The first one is that no living person could enter or exit that door. It was for the spirit to leave the house. It stayed open the entire way, no matter the temperature. It stayed open the entire time, 24/7. It was for the spirit to leave the house, and the only time living people went through it is when they carried the body out of the house, and that was to force the spirit to follow the body. The other belief is that no living person entered that door, but every living person that came to the wake exited through the door, so the spirit couldn't follow them. And so it kept them as kind of a barrier, but then the spirit followed the body when it came out that door. The door was then shut and locked and was not opened again and used for any reason but for the dead. We found other evidence in the house of the spiritualist beliefs too. The original back porch, one of the original back porches when they built the dining room on, is now a hallway that goes to the bedroom. We're going to use it for storage. The previous owner had taken the door out and the windows and boarded it up, so we just finished it. The ceiling is painted haint blue. So haint blue is like a sky blue color, and the belief behind that is, and you'll see it a lot more like in Savannah, New Orleans, like the older cities, but haint blue, if you paint the ceiling haint blue, it keeps the evil spirits out of your house, so it can't cross past the haint blue. So that was a big belief. And I believe that came over with the slaves, the enslaved people, with the hoodoo voodoo kind of beliefs. That was kind of a weird color. And so that was part of what they believed in. But yeah, past the dining room here, that's all the new moon stuff. The house originally set on 300 acres. They owned about half a mile towards town, all on this side of the road. This road's been here since 1798. This was the original Russellville Pike. When they put in Pinnerall Parkway, they had to put an exit in. There was no room to put an exit here, so they diverted basically Russellville Pike to 9th Avenue over there, and that's where you get off of the interstate now. And this is just kind of, this ends back into that same road. We're pretty sure that Charlie Knight, to get onto the board of the hospital, donated land to the hospital because their land would have stretched mostly that way. Do y'all know the scuba diving places back here? Pinnerall Scuba Diving, you ever heard of that?
Oh, the quarry? Or
Yeah,
by
the
the
quarry.
quarry? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the quarry, that in the deed, that's the boundary, is the cliff.
Oh,
The quarry
wow.
didn't start until 1870s. So when they bought the house in the 1860s, that cliff where the quarry would end up being was the back boundary of the property. So most of their acreage went that way. So we think that where Western Hills Golf Course is now, he probably gave quite a few acres to them to become a president for it and to get on. They just kind of greased the wheels for him to do that. The Rogers family, when they lived here, they still owned a pretty good chunk of land when they bought the house. I don't know how many acres they own. I need to go back and look at the deed that they had. But I do know this house next door they built for their son back in the 70s, their youngest son, and they sold this lot off. The next house over was actually a apartment building. It's just a single family house now, but it had 3 apartments in it. They owned it too because they rented it out. And when Terry, the son who owned that house, he lived in here when their mom died in the 90s and lived here by himself until he died in 2014. He rented that house out and his house. And he had several other rental properties. He was not a lawyer, but he was a county clerk for 30 years. His older brother, Petey, was a lawyer. Their dad was a lawyer. Petey became the basically Attorney General of Kentucky for many, many years. So he was the head law enforcement officer in Kentucky, the whole state for many years. And he was also a prosecutor here in town. He's still alive. He's 87. He's 88 now. He came into the walkthrough through the house and told me a lot about the house.
Oh, wow.
About how it was when they moved in. So the Knight family lived here until Thomas, the last son, died in 1939. Leon, who I mentioned was Carrie's son, who survived, he was pretty much the only grandchild other than Robert's kids. Robert, the oldest son, had 5 kids. I think 2 or 3 of them died before they reached adulthood. They didn't have the means to take over the house, from what I understand. Leon did. Leon was successful. So he was going to take over the house because it's a big, expensive house. Also, when the Rogers bought the house, there was no modern plumbing, electric cooking on the fire in the basement, the fireplace in the basement. They were still using candles and things in the 30s. So the house needed to be retrofitted with everything. So they did have gas lamps throughout the house. Some of them have been, I'll show you a couple of those. They've been switched over to electric. But in 1945, when the house was finally sold out of the Knight family because there was nobody else really to take it over, and like the extended Knight family, they auctioned everything off in the house that the Knights owned. And the family took all the pictures, portraits, anything like that. So we only have a few pictures of family members. This was found in the attic. Didn't even know this existed. We found this in the attic and a bunch of the Rogers stuff, which was a bunch of their stuff still out there. We believe this is Thomas, the youngest son. Because of the age of the picture and the way it was done, would have been the late 1870s, 1880s, and that's when he became an attorney. So this would have fit his age at the time and the type of photography they had at that time. This was probably something that probably hung in his office, his insurance office. But we don't have any pieces of furniture from the Knights in the house. And the only other pictures of any of the Knight family, the immediate Knight family that we have, is from John Jr., the one that I talked about going to Chicago, because in Chicago photography is more readily available. And he was actually in the newspaper several times because he was a huge socialite. Also, the Chicago Times and Chicago Tribune, the 2 big newspapers up there, did huge write-ups when he died in 1929. So he was well known, and so he was photographed and things like that. So that is a picture of JB Knight's sister, Aksha. I wish I had a picture of JB because she looks very Native American to me. So they have some really native blood in them is what it looks like. This is James Harding, who was married to Carrie. Don't know who that is. That could be Charlie, but don't know for sure. But definitely know that's James Harding, because this is around the time they went to college together and they were best friends. So that could be Charlie. Just, I don't have any proof of that. But if you look at him, his face, and his face, the kind of similar characteristics, they could be brothers. I don't know. Still digging up history. Pretty much, we're the only ones who have done that. I mean, we have a county historian here who is 84, and he's been the county historian for 50 years. This has been his enigma. He knows everything about every house in town. This is the one that's been hard to find information on.
Wow.
So I've taught him things about the house since we've owned it for the past year. Lots of things. Yeah. And also like that picture coming to light and stuff like that, and pictures that I found of other family members and things like actually he's never seen, and so it's kind of cool to take them to him, and it just makes his day when I do. It's awesome. So when you look through the house, you can tell where it's been added because the walls are 2 foot thick brick because they didn't do insulation back then, so they just bricked them. So we're cut out this thick. This is an add-on. Otherwise, they had no reason to waste brick on an internal wall.
Right.
Same thing with the bathroom here, of course, is added later in the 50s. And then this room is here. We believe that we think this is the law library because it's kind of narrow. Also, the type of windows that are in here. And then you can tell where this bedroom was added on to, where they cut through the brick to put the bedroom in. Only room in the house that's carpeted, and have no idea why the previous owners put carpet here. They did. These windows are very unique. You don't see these around here either. We have 5 of these in the house. They're basically French doors.
Oh yeah.
Just the size of windows. The Knights did have a wood deck out there. The stones are still on the ground where the wood posts sit, so they wouldn't rot. And you can tell because they're man-made, because they're only worked flat on one side. We've dug a couple of them up, and they're just rough stones all the way around, except for the side that's at the surface. That would have been called a summer deck. And the purpose of that was not to go out. It would have been screened in for bugs and things. The purpose was not to go out like we sit on our front porch deck now. That was to sleep on in the summer when it's hot.
Oh.
No air conditioner, no way of airflow. You didn't have electricity for fans and things, right? So their only reprieve was, this is the west side of the house too. So this is where the breeze comes from, right? We get all of our weather from west to east for the most part. So they would have got a better breeze on this side of the house. So they would have had beds and cots that they rolled out there and slept. The whole family slept out there. There's one of these windows here, one there. Also, these windows serve another purpose. There's 2 more upstairs in the parlor that you'll see. If you open these, and you open that door, it creates a wind tunnel because it funnels down, so it causes the air to flow faster because it funnels it down. Same thing in the parlor. 2 on this side and one of these windows on the other side, and it causes the breeze to go faster and be a better breeze to the house. The high ceilings are only to show wealth. They don't help with heating, they don't help with cooling, none of that.
Yeah.
These are 10-foot ceilings. There are other houses this old that have 12-foot.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we think this is a law library. We have it as a bedroom now because, of course, we have teens in the night. And you actually sleep in the beds. I was telling her earlier, this is not a museum. So when you're investigating in here, sit on the beds. Don't care, sit in the chairs. The parlor, sit on the couch and stuff. They're all recreations. There is an 1880s couch up there, and if you can break it, I'll pay you. Because it's solid wood and it's stuff with horsehair.
You
And
might
it's
not.
uncomfortable.
You might be eating your words with that one right there.
It is made with old growth lumber that's about this thick, and this thick. And
I'll have
good luck.
a strong test for that.
It is stuffed with horsehair, and it was made to last, and it's red velvet, and it was made to last, and that's why it's still around since 1880.
Now we can't break it.
In here, we do have a lot of the Rogers stuff, and some of their stuff is old that was left here. In 2014, when Terry Rogers died, his daughter and son had no interest in taking over the house. Also, he was a hoarder, from what I understand. So they had to pay somebody to come in here and clean the house out, all the trash and junk. And they didn't want anything to do with it. So they auctioned everything they could off. They had an estate sale and sold everything they could, and then sold the house. And the people that we bought it from, the Rasses, bought it in 2014. They owned it for 10 years, so we bought it last year in April. This mantle is believed to be the original mantle from the parlor. And then when JB and I went through the house and he did all the Greek Revival stuff, he changed them all to the boring column Greek Revival boringness. That's where all this big trim comes from, too, the big giant baseboards. The parlor is a lot fancier baseboards, and they're about 2 foot tall, and they're a lot fancier. And so is the door trim, because that's where they entertained everybody. So they wanted to show spiders. But this mantle, we think, between talking to the historian and a few other people, that because it's so fancy and hand carved, it would have been their showpiece kind of in the parlor. This bed is from the 1800s. This belonged to the Rogers. It was in pieces in the attic, and we hooked it down here and put it in here. We got to redo the canopy. It's a canopy bed. This is one of the lamps that's original to the house that was actually wired for electricity. It's actually an old lamp.
Oh, wow.
These are called library lamps. And one reason it's called a library lamp, it's on a pulley system. This one we have to fix the pulley, or I would pull it down and show you, but I can show you one in the attic that works. You can pull it down. That acorn is a counterweight.
That's
So you
really
can pull it down, and it's called a library lamp because if you're reading at night, you can pull it down to where you get more light.
Oh, that's really cool.
Also, you can pull it down to refill the oil. And the acorn, the counterweight, weighs the same amount as the lamp full of oil. So it's a perfect
Okay.
counterweight. So there's no effort in pulling it up and down, basically. But we're going to rewire the others and put them back in the house, too. There's one upstairs that's massive. It weighs about 50 pounds. It has a big bronze counterweight that I'll show you that's huge, and it works just fine with pulleys. We just need to rewire it. A lot of stuff happens in here. This camera goes off all the time for noises. It sounds like furniture moving. Also, ghost parrot. And that's an interesting story. I had somebody message me last year after we bought the house and asked, have you heard the parrot yet? No, didn't nobody, first I've heard if anybody owned a parrot who lived in the house. Well, because McCall's lived 60, 70, 80 years. They owned it for at least 50 years. 2 weeks later, this camera goes off and it sounds like a parrot squawking and whistling. Last week, again, sounds like somebody's moving furniture here. Nothing's moved in here, nothing's on the camera. No other camera. There's a camera on the other side of this wall that did not go off, but I can play this video too. At the very end, it sounds like a parrot whistle. It does not sound like any other bird around here. It sounds like a parrot whistling. The other weird thing is the piano in the parlor belongs to the Rogers family. It's from 1939. The Baldwin Acrosonic piano from 1939. It's actually still in good shape. There's only a couple strings that need replaced. It just needs tuned, basically. I think there's 2 keys that the strings are broke. But most of the keys still sound decent. And they'll reverberate. So if you hold it down, it still has the reverb and still, hangs out there until it's done. Somebody messaged me again on Facebook and said, have you ever heard the piano play itself? Because apparently that's something that happened when the Rogers lived here. And this is somebody who was in the house. The person with the parrot, too, was somebody who was friends with the Rogers, so they heard the ghost stories from the Rogers, too. And I said, nope, that hasn't happened yet. Well, the camera up there is on top of the piano because it gets the entire parlor. And about a month later, the camera goes off, and it's the entire note sustained. So it's like they held down the piano key. It wasn't just a dink. It's a long, reverberating note that fades out.
That's cool.
That's happened once with that. There's been several other times where it sounds like it's just dink, dink, like that on the piano. We hear audible stuff all the time. Actually, today, whenever we come in here, we always tell them hello in the mornings and things, and goodbye when we leave. And this morning we walked in, and I was coming in to turn the lights on, and I'm on my phone, turning all the cameras off because not my phone keeps going off from the sound and motion. And I said hello, and I heard a woman's voice say hello. So, we do have a woman's voice. So the team last weekend in the dining room had a recorder and a DVR. The DVR did not pick up the voice, but the recorder picked up a Class A EVP of a woman. So it's a full sentence. So, yeah. She was excited and messaged me. So, she's one of my friends, Barbie, so she was excited and messaged me so she found it. Let's go down to the basement real quick and then we'll go to the bathroom here, just a warning. On the back of this door that goes into the bedroom is a full-length mirror. We'll scare the shit out of you. If you walk in the dark, we still do it all the time. We know it's there.
When you go to turn the light on, you're staring right at
At
it. So when the
yourself.
light comes on, it's like you're looking back at you, but it's not.
Here, I'll take those. This is just some interesting. This is just some interesting history. This is from the 1968 Health Department. That I found in the attic. It was like, wow. But that was how they talked the other day.
Yeah.
They didn't. I mean, it wasn't. They didn't mean any. It wasn't derogatory. They didn't mean any harm by it.
Yeah, that was like the technical term back then that they used.
But I just found that as an interesting piece of history and how far we've come from things like that. But that was from the health department, yeah. So, yeah, Christian County Health Department.
Why'd you give this straight to me?
That's all right, Mason.
But, and their intention with that was to help people
Don't laugh.
and about that time when they were trying to get mentally handicapped people out of insane asylums and things. The whole gaslighting thing was kind of coming to an end where, you know, husbands would say, my wife's got hysteria, and then could put you away for however long they wanted to.
Yeah.
As long as they had a doctor sign off on it. And a bunch of quack doctors would take a 20 under the table and commit you for nothing, you know, because you didn't like what your husband was doing, or whatever. You know, ridiculous. So, yeah, that late 60s, early 70s when they were cracking down on all that stuff. Like Penhurst Asylum and all them, that's when they all got closed. And
Yeah.
I think Penhurst was on that whole Geraldo Rivera back in the early 70s, snuck into. He didn't even have to sneak. He just walked right in there, nobody noticed it.
Yeah.
And filmed all the horrible things. I think it was Penhurst. And,
That's right. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's
Like there was nobody like of any authority around.
Yeah.
They were just
there's no staff, no nothing.
yeah. They were just in
The
horrible
inmates were in-
conditions.
Yeah, the patients, on their own.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. So, all right, we're downstairs. You'll be able to see how fun this other is.
It's getting better.
Watch your step right here. This pops up on the screen. Watch your head, guys. And the very last step is taller than the rest of them, so it's trip hazard.
Okay.
Oh wow, it's going way down.
Oh.
It's not over the floor anymore.
Well, I turned the AC back on.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
It was about.
It's bowing a little bit right there.
On the concrete floor diameter.
Yeah, this is. Yeah, the last one is much taller than the rest.
Wait, pull down here.
Ooh, fireplace and pool table.
We're gonna get the pool table rehab, so new felt and stuff. This was built in 1938. The pool table. The Rogers family brought it in here. Whenever they flooded Lincoln Lakes, y'all familiar with Lincoln Lakes? When they flooded it, the town of Golden Pond was like the biggest town that they flooded, and this was the only pool table in town and the tavern in town in Golden Pond. So it came from there. So a little piece of history from Lincoln Lakes, but it has about inch thick solid piece of slate. The whole thing's a solid piece of slate on top. So we've actually had people that sleep on it. Yeah, we have people ask to sleep on it. Like, Aaron, I heard pool table. Back there, I was telling her earlier before y'all got here. Back there, it gets all muddy when it rains, and right now it's just too muddy. We usually squeegee it, but it's too wet and muddy to even squeegee it. That is where the house slaves stayed. That's where they would have slept, their quarters. And in here, they would have cooked in the wintertime. That's why that hearth is so big. It helps heat the house, but also better cook down here. There's nothing really good ones. So what I was saying, there's a few things.
Oh, I just put my camera in a
A
cobweb.
lot of that was where it was coming back under.
I like to show people a few things on there. There's there's a tunnel that's behind the furnace that goes across the house, underneath the dining room stuff, that has the original hand pick. Otherwise, nothing happens down there. In here, during the Civil War, the Confederates occupied Hopkinsville 3 times, and the Union occupied Hopkinsville 3 times. It was highly contested. There's never any battles here, but it's highly contested because the railroad is a major thing in town. To get supplies, back and forth from west to east and all that. So one of the times that the Confederacy was here, they were under the command of Nathan Bedford Forrest, and they were camped in town, and a plague went through all the Confederate soldiers. And I think there were 3,000 some soldiers that were stationed here, and 300 of them died of the plague. It's called blackpox pneumonia, and they died of pneumonia. The basement here is used as a hospital, one of the houses that the basement is used as a hospital. So they probably would stack soldiers in here as deep as they go. They died. There was no cure. There was no cure for pneumonia. They basically drowned their own fluids. That's horrible as that is. They only identified about 200 of them. The other 100 some of them were buried in mass graves in Riverside Cemetery. The ones they identified had grave markers for names on them. But back then, they didn't have dog tags things. They had to find something on them that said their name to identify them. So, yeah, about 100 of them were in mass graves. They got a big monument and stuff. So down here, they do get teams do get activity. One of the things on the EVP that we get is like a can't breathe type sounds, especially when they try to talk to you through EVP. But we've also got like the heavy, raspy breathing too on EVP. This thing doesn't move. This floor doesn't move. So the cat ball goes off in the pool table. I don't know what to tell you. I can't say it's a ghost, but if it doesn't on command. So a lot of teams have luck with that. There is a shadow, not a shadow figure, but a shadow that's seen over here, and one of the teams actually caught it on film.
Oh wow!
I actually caught it with my camera on film and slipped in the clip. But one of them sat on the stairs and he saw it. And then these cameras are recording all the time. Whenever you're in the room, any motion or sound, they just don't alert me. So tonight, if there's anything happens and you want a different angle or to see if my camera caught it versus y'all's or whatever, let me know. As long as I have like the time around the same time, I can pull it up for the next 24 hours on whatever camera.
Okay.
So we have 7 of them running. The only one we don't have runs is the one in the cellar because spiders are the only thing to set it off. So,
Yeah.
Do get noises down here sometimes. The only problem down here is if you get loud cars, you will hear them.
Yeah.
We will kick the air conditioner off and the dehumidifier while you are investigating, just because that's all you hear on your audio. Otherwise, it's pretty quiet. We have gotten some slaves too that come through. Don't know. I don't talk a whole lot about the slave people because we really don't know a whole lot about them. Yeah. The biggest thing that I can tell you is that when the Knights moved in here, they only had 5 enslaved people. They were all domestic slaves. So they were all house slaves. They just were nannies and cooks and all that, the 5 of them. When they moved here in 1860 census, because they moved in here like 2 months before the census happened, which is good because we got them in the 1860 census. When they moved in here, they had 16 on the census. But I think they bought the enslaved people with the property. But that's the most they ever had. And then, of course, slavery was abolished a few years later. So, 1870 census, they had a family of black people living here that were called the Moors, and they, the wife and the kids were paid to be domestic servants in the house, and then the husband helped work the farm, and they also lived on the property and farmed their own land, and so they got paid. We also think that the house is part of the Underground Railroad. We actually have somebody come out in August to do ground penetrating radar, where we think tunnels are. So that's been a big rumor around town for a long time as well. Out here in the yard, there are 2 sinkholes that are rather large. They're in line with where people will say the slave tunnels are. That's what I've been told, slave tunnels. And I said, well, what's a slave tunnel? Well, the Underground Railroad. We actually talked and had him in the house, and he did some research. A gentleman named Lynn Radford, and he's a Underground Railroad historian. He's already proven that one house in town was part of the Underground Railroad, definitively. The house is gone, but the tunnels are still there under the church parking lot, and the tunnels go into the church.
Oh wow.
Also, we have a lot of circumstantial evidence that the Knights were involved in the Underground Railroad. For one, the fact that the house was only sold to friends, like I talked about earlier. Well, if J.P. Campbell seemed to be a pretty good guy too. He actually bought we have a Trail of Tears park here in town. That's a national park. That land, J.P. Campbell understood the importance of it. And so when the Lathams sold their farm, he bought the farm and donated it for the park to be created.
Oh, wow.
So he seemed to be like a pretty decent guy. Also, all of those people, including the Knights, seem to be very, very liberal. J.B. Knight paid to start the first female college in town in the 1860s, 1870s. Charlie, the son who worked at the hospital, he was part of the debate club in town. And the newspaper articles that you see, he always takes the liberal side. So one of the debates that they did was, should women have the same rights as men? And this is back in 1870s, 1880s, somewhere in there. I don't remember the exact date. And he took the side that women should have all the same rights as men, and they should be able to vote. That's long before any of those things came to fruition, and people didn't believe, especially men. Women weren't even allowed to work back then. Also, we believe that Eliza, the wife, she wasn't just in the background as the wife, because on a lot of the Knight documents that we have, like I said, we have like over 200, J.B. Knight has 2 different signatures. They do not look like each other. Pretty sure she was signing his name and doing business with him, but she would not have been allowed to do it publicly.
Right.
Also think she was his paralegal. So she kept all the records and things. But I think they were a team when it came to business and just kind of behind the scenes. But, and then the way that they own property, like I said, he owned thousands of acres. Well, he owned property in Georgia. I haven't found Tennessee yet, but I know he did business in Nashville. Kentucky, Illinois, Iowa. Well, if you wanted to really free black people back then, you needed to get them to Canada. You send them up north to the free states, you have bounty hunters that go to get them, kidnap them and bring it back. Even free black people back then would be kidnapped and brought into slavery in the South.
Wow.
But you get to Canada, Canada didn't play. You're not coming over here kidnapping anybody. And so most of the bounty hunter stuff would not go into Canada territory. But they welcomed black people in with open arms. Also, there was 15 families here in the 1820s, 1830s who freed all their slaves and sent them to Liberia. And that's where the country of Liberia came from, in Africa. And that's why it's called Liberia. Yeah. And if you look up Liberia, it has all English names. All their cities are English. Because it was mostly slaves that were freed and sent over there. Well, those 15 families then moved to Illinois and created New Christian County, Illinois. Because we're in Christian County, Kentucky. So there is a huge history of that in Hopkinsville. Kentucky was neutral. Also, the Knights didn't lose anything between the Union and the Confederacy. They didn't lose no money, no property, no nothing, which is unheard of. Because if they were pro-Union, the Confederacy would have come in here and burn all the furniture and everything else. If they were pro-Confederacy, the Union would have come and done the same thing. So the fact that, if they were part of the Underground Railroad, well, the Union's not involved in. They have slaves, so the Confederacy's like, well, they're playing the game, They always playing the game well enough, the Confederacy didn't bother me. So, but trying to find the smoking gun. There's, like I said, there's all of that evidence that they definitely could have done. It's just finding the proof. If there's tunnels, I don't know how to prove it any more than that. So we go seriously. Just much feel like I said that first looks pretty high.
Yeah.
The floors on the first level here are from the 1950s. The rock put them in because the original floors were basically on the ground and bottom. But once we hit the stairs over here to go to the parlor, all of that wood is the original shiplap from 1815.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. This is our cabinet of curiosities here. Things we find around the property. We always find something when we're digging. There's all kinds of pottery shards and things. These are some of the original doorknobs from the 1850s, 1860s.
Oh, that's cool.
They're very expensive doorknobs. This linoleum's from the 1920s, and it's real linoleum. It's made out of linseed oil and natural colors and things. This is a handmade iron spike. J.B. Knight owned a blacksmith too, in a blacksmith shop. Okay. So anytime you see square like this or square nails, these are handmade. They didn't have a way to make round ones back then. Blacksmiths just hammered them out individually. They would have probably had a die that cut these, and then they would shape them. But something like this, they'd have taken a piece of chunk of metal and made a spike. This is actually a really early piece of sewer pipe.
Oh, wow.
When they did terracotta sewers. The china shards date from the 1800s all the way to the 1940s. Don't know why we find so many broken dishes. We actually dug a lot of this. We have a lot more too in baggies, but the summer kitchen didn't have a floor, and we started noticing pottery shards. And so we started digging through the dirt and sifting through it and found all kinds. So
wider right there in the top.
That is from the 1940s. This is Chanel number 5. Still has perfume
Ah.
in it. Yeah. So you go.
Chanel notes.
That smells good.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I get it.
People that have come in that actually wear Chanel look like, oh yeah, it smells exactly the same as it does now.
This is from the 1940s. For some reason, they made it look like a lipstick, but I don't know what happened to the lid. We found it like this in the house. Probably belongs to the Rogers wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. The reason there was linoleum in the house because back then that was the most expensive floor you put in the house.
Oh,
The Titanic, the big grand staircase of Titanic, the black and white cherry floor was not marble or travertine, it was linoleum. Because when it sank, that was the most expensive flooring. Wasn't everybody had marble? Well, this was like handmade and had a linseed and stuff. So the pipe is hand carved from the 40s.
That's cool.
The duck decoy. There's an interesting story about those too. We were down in the basement. Me, him, and his mom were down in the basement one day, and we had swept the floor down there. We had cleaned up down there from the previous owner, and this is last summer. He comes around the corner, and we had just been in there around the pool table like we were just now. He comes out of that back room and walks by the pool table. The pipe's in the middle of the floor. Wasn't there before, never seen it. We swept in there, don't know where it came from. Well, while we're in that back room, I found the body to the duck decoy. He was missing his head. The head had been broken off. And he talked about the pipe, like, look what I found. And I was telling his mom, I said, well, maybe we'll find the head around here somewhere. He just found this pipe out of nowhere. Right in front of the trash can in plain sight was the duck's head.
That's
Don't
cool.
know where they came from. Don't know how they got there. Out of nowhere. So,
And
I glued the duck's head.
about a
back so
month
he could
ago,
use it again.
we had coal just
Big old
appear
chunks of
in
coal.
the floor, and it looked like somebody had stepped on it. And it's like, well, nobody's been down here, and why does just random chunks of coal?
We do have a bag of coal down there,
Yeah.
big chunks of coal, because they used to heat the house that way. And there's a original coal chute in the cellar, and then there's the slave door they use as a coal chute too. And so there's a tree on the side of the house over there. Every time it rains, you get chunks of coal coming out of the ground. But that was in the floor out of nowhere. So weird things happen around here all the time.
That's so cool. Speaking of the perfume, have you ever had any scents come out of nowhere like that? Because we've had
Yes.
some instances where we've smelled something.
And I did not notice it. Somebody else noticed it first, and then I smelled it up here in the parlor. It's actually happened 2 separate teams, and with one of them I smelled it. The other one just mentioned and asked me if it had happened before. But the one team I was with them, and one of them smelled it. Over here by this window, I'll show you. We're gonna go there now.
Okay.
Parlor.
Just so it's not.
Over here, and there's nothing up here that puts off any scent. But over here is where it was smelled.
Okay.
The foam
It
stuff.
smelled perfume or
It's kind of
like a floral.
floral.
Okay.
It may have been perfume, maybe
Yeah.
not, but it was just in this area.
Okay.
This is the parlor. Like I was saying, you can sit on chairs, sit on couches. If you're cold, you can blanket. It's not a museum. This is the piano I was talking about, one with the Rogers family. That a Charlotte couch, one with the Rogers family right there. Yeah, there's the red couch.
There you go.
Sit on it, it's very uncomfortable. I don't like it. Other people are like, nah, it's not so bad.
I like it.
Sit there about 20 minutes, you're like, oh, back and
I mean,
yeah.
you can definitely feel everything underneath,
Yeah.
how stiff it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's not. I mean, you also did sit 3 hours in the car in the trunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to.
Yeah. Yeah. On the way to Brushy, we had 6 in my 5-passenger.
This used to be a solid wall, and then there's a door right here. This was originally the foyer, not downstairs. And then they would have a door here because they wouldn't want their heat out if they entered the door, so making the door. Also, where you are sitting, where you're standing, we think the original staircase went down and one went up. Right here. The way they patched the floor is very weird.
Oh, I
Oh,
see.
yes.
Okay,
It's like
yeah.
weirdly patched over there. And also the vent would have been there back then.
Yeah.
But we think the staircase was originally here, not there. Because, once again, if you look, the wall's 3 foot thick.
Oh yeah.
Somebody cut through there and put those doors in.
Hmm.
So, and the front porch. The house been on the National Register of Historic Places in 1978. And they focused on the front porch and the architecture of the front porch. Y'all come out here.
Not just sleep.
We're redoing the front porch, we already redid the handrail. We're fixing to sand all this down and paint it.
Yeah.
Redo all that.
Oh, this is so cool.
But the Greek key
Yeah.
stuff, this whole porch, the design is all from that contract I showed you.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh, it does look very Greek inspired.
yeah,
Oh yeah, I can see
the Greek key and the Greek keys here. If you look at the 4-step down, I find this interesting because I'm a history nerd. But down here, right there, see that hole?
Yeah.
See that mark?
Yeah.
This would have been the top step of that church. That a hole for a pin to hold one of the double sets of doors closed. That would have been a drag mark over years and years. These are granite.
Yeah.
It would have taken 100 years to put that drag mark in there from the other door dragging.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But these are granite. And in the 70s. We have 2 more that we put around the porch, side porch over there.
steep steps.
Yeah.
Well, and that's where the story of the wooden ones would have been just as steep, if not steeper.
Yeah.
And they didn't have codes and stuff back then. So
Yeah.
build it however you
Like
want.
it's fine.
Yeah.
Those are a little bit of a fun house there too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can kind of see a little bit of.
Yeah, it made putting the handrail on it really fun.
Yeah, when we bought the house, it didn't have a handrail.
That's like you're walking.
You want to talk about the fun house effect without a handrail? Because you're like, ooh, I'm going to wobble and fall off, you know, because there was nothing stopping me.
Oh, I wouldn't use them until we put the handrail on.
Kind of
When we
sketch.
first got the house for like the first 2 months, I would not walk up it.
Well, I don't blame you.
Over on this side of the house was the original. We're working on putting this back in this summer. Actually, was the original formal garden that the Knights had, and it would have been like you see at the not quite as big and grand, but like the old English houses, the French houses that you saw the 6-foot hedgerow. They had the pea gravel pathways, the fountains and things. That's what the Knights had over here. When the Rogers family moved in, it was still here, and P.D. Rogers told me that a couple years after they moved in, a late frost came and basically killed all the plants. So his parents just took it out because it was too much upkeep anyway, and most of the plants were dead and they weren't replacing them. So we're going to put a smaller formal garden back over here with the 6-foot hedgerow and all that stuff. So
Okay.
Kind of go back to the house's original.
I like this.
I see. Yeah. I like that, like, bird. Instead of a bird's nest. Okay, yeah.
What's that?
There's something like this. It might end on a deeper.
But it just kept going. That's
Okay,
really
like you.
cool. Oh, I love that piece.
Yeah, I think there was an antique shop not so long ago. The odd thing about it is it has the original pan in the bottom of it, which is cast iron.
Oh.
And those are the first things that break because you drop them in the shatter like glass.
Yeah.
That's probably from the early 1900s. We furnished the entire house ourselves, for the most part. Other than the
That's
things that I
great.
pointed out that were the Rogers family, it's been slowly furnished and everything.
Yeah.
So, these chairs like to move themselves, especially that one on the left. And also these doors have closed themselves by themselves before too.
Oh wow.
One is not on your line.
It was earlier when I was up here.
They're not on the same line.
Well, that one's moving then. When I was up here earlier, I looked to make sure. Yeah,
So they already moved.
Well, I put them on the same board line with the feet.
Oh, I see it.
That. Oh.
I swear to y'all, when I was up here earlier, I looked at them and said, okay, they're good.
They're
Because
good
I
on
knew
the
I
same
normally
line.
readjust them.
Yeah.
Especially because we had a team in last weekend, they made instead of moving them. Nobody's been up here.
Wow.
I take it back. I came up here and moved the plant of the windowsill over there, but I didn't touch the chair. Because if I did, I put it back on the same line. Alright. We'll leave it back.
Yeah, put it back again, then we'll see. We'll come back later and check on it.
So I was thinking this one.
We've actually
Yeah.
found where they were all the way against
We
the
found those
wall.
in the house.
Oh, wow.
Actually, these are from the 1970s, Avon bottles. And they're still full clone. There's 2 of them over here too that are gavels.
Yeah, that's just what
They're full of clone.
I saw
This is a wild country.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's from the 70s. They still have the original clone in it. Yeah.
I got a bunch of Avon bottles in my house.
I have
Okay.
about 50 or 60 Avon cars my dad collected.
I think I have 2.
I want that now.
I have about 50 or 60 cars. train, all kinds of stuff.
You can still get that.
These right here, yeah, you can still do this one. These are full of fun too. You can unscrew the gavel.
Oh.
Yeah, there's two of them.
Oh, that's
You
cool.
we have
pull it
That
off
is so
first,
cool.
and then
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Oh.
We actually have the original boxes too. These came in. They're in the
They're
attic.
in
On the real time.
Isn't that other one should come on? Somebody tightened it up too much.
Yeah.
This one's blown too. We found this one.
I saw it. I was like, I
Oh,
have
that's
to.
cool.
That one's stinky.
Ooh, yeah. That one's like,
Ooh, that smells like
it's
Coke.
strong.
It smells like soda.
It smells like soda.
Ooh, that's a good one.
One of those is tobacco.
It does.
That's island lime. That one's
I like this one.
spicy.
You want
It smells
some?
like tobacco. This one's leather.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
Anyway, we found this one, so I guess the Rogers found those in the attic, which they.
That's really cool.
Well, we thought the gavel was really cool because it goes along with the whole law thing. Yeah, so.
I just didn't want to break it because it wasn't going
Give them a little cut.
Well, he's got white their hands anyway.
Yeah.
That one's spicy. It's different than the other one.
Yeah, it's having a little.
Okay.
Like it's kind of like you said, like it's open arms.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can get a little bit of that tobacco.
yeah.
Find if you want something really cool, that glass jar over there with the tobacco
Yeah.
pipes.
Still
You
smells
open
like
it,
tobacco.
It still smells like tobacco too.
Yeah, it's missing the gauge, but it was a humidor. This was a humidor for loose tobacco. It's
Oh.
like stick. It still smells like tobacco. That's glass. Absorb that smell.
Wow, yeah.
It was really good. I bought this in an antique shop a long
It
time ago.
is sweet.
We had it at our own house. We had it at our own house.
Wow.
And just as a piece, I got it for $15.
Really?
That's all the pipes too. Yeah.
That's a steal.
So, I have to fix the door on the grandfather clock. It does not say shut. So if you shut it, it's Velcro, but the Velcro sticky is gone.
Okay.
It will open on its own. Just let you know it's not anything permanent.
Okay. Yeah. That's just it not functioning correctly.
Oh, this is a secret bar.
Oh, those are
Oh, yeah.
cool.
So you had your shot glasses, your
Yeah, I mean,
wine glasses, and tumblers, and then your liquor down there. So it's like prohibition and stuff. You're hiding
yeah.
your liquor.
They were
I
lit.
figured that goes well with this estimate.
The other thing people would like up here too that a lot of people have never seen is the actual handbook for the recently deceased.
Oh yeah, I
For
noticed
Beetlejuice.
that.
It's a real book. It follows all the stuff in the movie, and it came out about 3-4 years ago. And I bought it.
Oh, that's cool.
You can get it on Amazon for like $20.
Yeah.
But it is a real book. The ones you could buy before, like journals and things.
Oh, yeah.
That is a real whole book.
Oh wow.
And like the door that they draw, like everything in Beetlejuice is in there, and then a lot more.
Oh, that's neat.
All right, we're gonna go up the weird stairs.
Very obvious.
It's gonna get a little hot up here. Oh, I was gonna point out. See how boring the mantle is, like I was talking about, and
Okay.
then how big the baseboards are.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
And then, did you see the fancier trim?
Oh,
All Greek
okay.
revival.
Yeah.
And the baseboards are ginormous. So.
I like this.
And then, like I said, we have two of those windows here, one here, to create that wind tunnel effect.
Yeah. That's cool.
So we did put in some extra handles, but I found that if you put your feet sideways on the step, it makes it a lot easier because I have big feet. And
It's
Okay.
crazy how
Small
they
stuff.
used to walk up these.
They must
They
have
were a
had
lot tinier
tiny
people,
feet.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Small people.
Y'all go
small
ahead.
feet.
I stay at the bottom, so I gotta catch anybody.
Yeah, I want to film everybody trying to go up the stairs.
Kind of if you turn as you go, it makes it a little easier. Kind of turn your feet as you
They
go.
have like little small feet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look how big feet. We'll see how this goes. Yeah, you either gotta tiptoe it or turn.
Yeah. I just turn my knees, like pivot my legs around sideways just like I roll.
Ooh, boy. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Calf workout for sure.
My mom had a. She still got
This
her
is the
control
best
though.
seat in the house when y'all are
Like there's a
investigating.
bedroom here and then.
This is
Yeah.
the most comfortable chair in the entire.
Noted.
It is. It's amazing.
Dibs.
Hold on, now I got-
Just your back, everything about it's wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
I've never had a chair that comfortable. And I'm like, man, I want that for my office.
Like you said, that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, go Mason.
So this room, did y'all see that?
Yep.
You didn't hear the two-step.
I did.
What, really? That wasn't us?
No, that was up in the
No,
attic.
it was up here.
Yeah.
I thought somebody was.
No, when
No,
you
this,
sat down.
this ain't, this don't move.
I thought that was like those
Yeah, I thought it was
floors.
when I walked.
That was up there.
Really?
Yeah, it was in there.
We hear footsteps in the attic all the time. One night, I was waiting on the team to get here, and me and my brother and his girlfriend were sitting in the parlor, just bullshitting. And for a straight minute, we heard somebody walking back and forth. And then I sent my brother up here to make sure it was the same sound. And also, there were no critters up here, but it sounded like the same
Yeah.
thing. He
Wow.
walked a little heavier, but yeah, we hear footsteps up here. So this area, when the Rogers owned the house, the husband, from what I understand, died really young of a heart attack in his 40s, W.E. Rogers. And so Frances, the mom, she lived here by herself after her kids moved out. And I guess just her being in this house by herself is huge. She built a guest suite up here, and she actually rented it out. The door in there actually had that side had a balcony and then stairs that went down, so they had their own entrance. And then she had this door where she could lock it from her side. Where these two closets are in this hallway now, they actually built a dormer onto the roof with that modern bathroom in it too. But these two closets weren't here. From what I understand, there was a stove, sink, and refrigerator on one side, and there was a washer and dryer on the other. And then they had this room was probably their living room area, and then that was a bedroom or something. We tried to put kids' rooms, the smallest room in the house. Also, we're pretty sure the kids stayed up in the attic. Pretty sure the night kids probably most of them slept in the attic. Yeah. I heard that too. I thought it was one of y'all popping numbers.
Every time I hear something, I'm like,
was it?
oh, was it?
Okay.
Oh.
Bro.
Yeah, I
Say,
remember.
Well, those two
You're
footsteps we
fired.
heard that loud. The communication up here does happen. The biggest thing is through the spirit box up here in this room. I've got a lot of stuff with the spirit box. Also the SS method
Yep.
Yep.
and EVPs.
That's-
So
He's our star
Yeah, right.
here.
I suck at it. I'll never do the SS method because I don't get shit. But I have ADD, so I don't really ever go in the zone or anything. My mind's like, do monkeys have rabies? Like, I don't know. Do sheep count themselves or this? So, crazy things like that. So, the door under there, I always get asked about that. That
Ooh.
apparently was like the kids' little clubhouse because you look in there now, there's like pieces of coloring book stuff that like mice over
Get
there
in.
chew up. We haven't found anything good in there. It's just like little paper and stuff put from kids in there. These are the most normal stairs in the house. They go to that.
I was gonna say, you can try.
Little tiny door.
That's little.
I just want to get a little Indian and put it at the door.
Oh, this is cool. I love that over there. Ooh, storage.
Yeah, one of those cabinets has a bunch of books in it from the early 1900s.
It's
Oh,
not
that's
as
cool.
bad as how it was at Brush.
Brushy was so hot last night.
It's not bad.
Well, we have that.
That's a good photo right there, that TV.
Oh, I love that.
I have a record player built in the top of it.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. So all of this is up in the house.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
Boy, we're gonna get
original-
some great pictures.
Refrigerator. That's actually.
One of the original refrigerators.
Oh,
Yeah, refrigerator from the 1930s.
Scooch.
And it.
Hey, look behind you.
Oh, wait. Behind me.
Oh yeah.
That's another one.
That is an old reel-to-reel recorder.
And you got the
What
radio right there.
Here is.
what kind of jacket is this? A war jacket or?
It is. Every time I come up here, my throat gets scratchy and I cough.
Oh.
And I don't know if it's the dust or what. Every time I come up here. So anyway, they belonged to one of the Rogers. I don't know who. I don't know which one. I don't know who was military service. But it was, what I've been told from somebody who knows, it was from somebody who worked on a tank. Because of
Oh.
the symbols on it.
Okay.
So they drove a tank, shot a gun off a tank, something like that.
Cool.
This is the lamp I was talking about.
Ah, the other library lamp.
Yeah, that's heavy. So.
That's really neat.
Yeah, the thing's up there. Got some head to it.
I can see this
Yeah,
shoved right
yeah,
here.
take that.
That's the counterweight.
That thing has some head to it.
Yeah. So it needs rewired. We're gonna put it back in the house, but the fact that it's from 1860, 70 and still works that
Yeah,
way is pretty awesome.
that is awesome.
We have a couple others of these too. I remember we have. But,
They just don't make cool shit like that anymore.
right.
No.
They do not.
Well, they definitely don't make it to last anymore.
No.
Up here, get voice on EVP. It's mainly one guy. He'll talk to you over here. He'll pick one person that he wants to talk to, and that's who will, when they ask the questions, that's who will get the EVP from. That's the one to get the answer. Over here, I'll show you this video right now. The camera's down there, so it gets the whole room. I have seen the shadow. It may be the same shadow that's in the basement. I don't know, but I have seen the shadow go across here several times in the dark. Other people have seen it. A lady had a laser grid a couple months ago, and she got a picture, and it looked like a mist that was blocking out some of the laser grid points. I caught a video on there. It was storming, but I caught Head and Shoulders going in front of the window.
That had to be.
I seen Head and Shoulders.
And we are 3 stories up, so
Yeah.
that's not having. That side's under the porch, under the side porch. This side is just flat over here. It's just trees. Let me find the video. I'll show you.
Just imagine. Just
The crazy thing is, that's not what set the camera off. A bug set the camera off, and I just happened to capture that while the camera's recording.
Wow.
So, it's crazy.
We also did from the Holy Grail.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, this is from the parlor the other night. This is at 4:30 in the morning. What's everybody here?
Oh,
Hear the whistle?
Yeah.
I heard, all of it. The
Yeah.
whistling and the walking around.
Like a parakeet.
Yeah.
Right.
Whoa.
Apparently murdered. You know, like
Look at you.
a pet
Look
bird.
at me almost breaking things. Let's not do that.
That's crazy.
Stuff like that happens all the time. I catch stuff like that on video all the time. The parlor
Hear a lot of
and
noises.
in the master bedroom. All right, here's the video.
Ooh, here we go.
So there's a bug. You'll see the bug set off the camera. We're gonna watch right there.
That glare from the light.
Watch. Oop. Here, I'll show it to you again.
I saw it.
So,
Yep, right there.
See where it's blocking out the.
I don't know if I can see all that. Oh. Whoa.
You see it?
Yeah, we watched it multiple times, and like most of the color was behind the
Top right
grids,
window.
Yeah.
and then that one blocked out the grid.
That's crazy.
So yeah, it goes in front of the window grids that are white.
Okay.
But otherwise, I would thought it's from the tree moving outside of the storm, or because the leaves were blowing. It did set off the camera a couple times from the thunder and from the leaves blowing around.
Yeah.
But when I saw that, I was like, no, that's on the
Air
inside.
and gone.
What?
That guy said there was a fire on that side of the house.
Did what the?
Mason.
I'm tripping out, dude.
Huh?
Holy crap! I don't know if that was on the camera or not.
Huh?
I was. What? I thought. What did it say?
Is it go time?
I swear,
Did you see something?
yes.
You got something right in between you. Hey.
Hey, I saw.
Oh.
It looked like I got freaked out because he was, you know how he said like people on drugs come by and like try to come in the house. It looked like somebody walked by the window, and I started freaking out because I was like, somebody's like, it was so clear that I was like, oh, he's gonna be at that window and at the door.
Or that's off the ground.
And that's why I freaked out, because I realized that after that I was like,
It just said
it's
forward.
off the ground. That's like 20 feet in the air.
Good night.